Rolling. My name is Gregory Vajda. I'm a composer, conductor, and clarinetist. And I have been doing this for, well, I'm not going to tell you how many years, for quite a long time. And all these three things somehow, I'd like to believe that come together and form one thing, if you wish. As an artist, my way of communication is music, and that's what I do. I'm the music director of the Huntsville Symphony right now. I've been working with the Hungarian Radio Symphony. I have stopped playing chamber music quite a long time ago, now years ago as a clarinet player, but I still consider myself one. And of course, as a composer, that's a lifetime program for someone like me. So those are the three things that are running parallel in my life. The major difference between Europe and the United States, or rather North America, is the way we conduct business within the business of classical music, and that is how organizations function and how you find the money to spend on your art. And that influences somewhat what you play, for whom, when and where, which are of course always important questions for everybody in our business. But in the US you have to be very careful with how much money you actually bring in while producing your art. Other than that, you know, Beethoven is Beethoven is Beethoven, and Kurtág is Kurtág is Kurtág. So you're presenting the same art. You just have to find different ways. What is really intriguing in being artist in residence with Ars Nova is the complexity of the projects we're planning for the next couple of years. Is that we're not only putting concerts together. It's not only me writing a piece as a composer or conducting a concert as a conductor, but also that we are trying to find ways to communicate with today's audiences in every possible way. So if you look at a concert, I regard a concert anyway as kind of like writing a piece of music. So that's also, by the way, is coming from Kurtág. He started doing this in the 80s, the so-called composed concerts, and I find that very intriguing still. Look at it like it's a museum, and I'm the curator, and I put different pictures, very different pictures, sometimes next to one another or the opposing walls. And if you come into my museum and you look at the pictures, you get a picture of what was happening 100 years ago, or what was happening yesterday, what's happening in one part of the world and the other. And because these pieces of arts are next to one another, that gives you a complex picture, and it gives you a chance to actually decide it for yourself. So you get a picture of a much wider cultural things, much wider cultural experience other than just music. And it's up to you as an audience member to put it in context and to kind of digest it for yourself. What I do as artist in residence, I curate things, I put things next to one another, and I give a chance to Ars Nova and to our audiences to experience this in a much wider context than just that of music. What we do here at the Eötvös Foundation is we're trying to give a model to our students and everybody who's interested in, as in showing in what it looks like in real life, how it works in real life. If you're a young conductor or a young composer and you go somewhere, you get an invitation to do a project, how you approach it, how you prepare, what 1,000 things you have to pay attention to as you're doing your project. It's one thing that you have good ears and good hands and you're a good musician and you can talk to your musicians and you can put a good show on stage. It's another thing like how many other different things you need to take care of before you actually get to produce what you're doing best. And cooperating with Ars Nova as a functioning ensemble, I think it is exactly to the core of what we are doing here at the Eötvös Foundation, and that is we throw our students into the deep water and we just yell, swim, because that's how you really do it in real life. That's how I did it. That's how Peter Eötvös did it when he was young. You have to do it, and we're here to help, of course. But this collaboration is actually giving us a great opportunity to do all that. My favorite pieces are always the ones that I'm conducting that week. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. It's kind of like being an actor. You know, you really have to get into the role, being that your own piece or someone else's, but you have to really be in it and be able to just make it your own. Other than that, my answer starts with the Goldberg Variations by Johann Sebastian Bach. I got to know this piece, of course, as probably all of us, or at least many of us, with Glenn Gould playing the two different recordings, many decades apart. And this is one of the few pieces that I can still listen to even when I'm working. So it's not making my brain work as a musician, as I usually, even if I get into an elevator and I listen to elevator music, that makes my brain work. But with Goldberg Variations, somehow it just takes me to a totally different universe. The other two pieces that I would like to mention are related to my own artistic upbringing. The first one is the B minor quintet for clarinet and string quartet by Johannes Brahms, a 35-minute long composition that I have played myself many times, but also a piece that I've regarded always throughout my life as an example of how to create your own universe as an artist, as a composer, and how to make a group of instruments sound like a symphony orchestra, even though it's only 5 musicians and it's pretty much similar sounding instruments. But it's a fantastic world that Brahms put here together. And the third one is probably the one piece that I conducted the most in my life, and something that I started conducting in my 20s and I'm still doing it, and that is Bluebeard's Castle by Béla Bartók. It is an opera, it's an unusual opera, but it's definitely something where, you know, it's like your hometown, you know, every corner of every street, and you remember everything. And exactly because it's a work of a genius, every time I do it, and it's probably now, I don't know, 50, 100 times, you discover something new. It's very familiar. You really speak it as your mother tongue, but it always just takes you away. Was it spontaneous enough? You have to cut that.